In order to understand and make use of a histogram, it helps to know how they are created. Frequency histograms are commonly used and easy to build and understand from an appropriate set of data. Density histograms, which use percentages for heights of the bars, are a bit tricky, but they are very useful when it comes to understanding how pieces of data are spread out. In this tutorial, we're going to address both frequency and density histograms. But for right now, we're going to go over the few mathematical skills you'll need to know in order to turn an appropriate data set or a frequency histogram into a density histogram. Does the mentioning of mathematical skills make you worried? Don't get too uptight about it. In a nutshell, the only skills you're going to need are addition, multiplication, and division. And you'll do each of those skills using a calculator. Even then, here's a quick explanation of how you're going to be using those skills before we actually show you how to do it. Addition. You're going to need to be able to sum up the numbers in a column and find a total, like 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 2 plus 7 equals 22. Multiplication. You're going to need to be able to multiply a number that is in decimal form and turn it into an appropriate percentage, like turning 0.095 into 9.5% or 0.3758 into 37.58%. which is done by multiplying the number by 100 to move the decimal 2 places to the right on each of these numbers. Division. You're going to need to divide a smaller number by a bigger number and write the results as a decimal, like 23 divided by 197 equals 0.1168. And you're going to need to divide a percentage into a smaller percentage, like 13% divided by 20 equals 0.65%. In order for your results to match those in the tutorial, you'll need to round your answers to 3 or 4 decimal places, but no more than that. You'll be close enough to identify matching results to those you find without too much stress over rounding. A little addition, a little multiplication, and a bit of division using a calculator. Doesn't sound too hard, does it? We'll take a single data set and walk you through the whole process, explaining each piece a bit more thoroughly as we go, and before you'll know it, you'll have the skills down well enough to do it on your own. So if you don't have one yet, grab a calculator and let's move on to a data set. Let's take a look at the following data set. This table comes from a local hair salon and beauty supplies shop, and it divides up the shop's clients by the number of times they come in for a haircut each year. We'll go into the process of building and drawing the histogram in the next section. For now, we're just going to cover how to use those 3 mathematical processes to label the tops of each bar in a density histogram. So, look at how this frequency histogram has been put together, and see if you can figure out how the sets of numbers in the columns of the table get used in the histogram. Do you see where the categories go? Those are the intervals in the haircuts per year column of the table of data, and we use those to label the horizontal axis of our histogram. Do you see how the frequencies of the number of clients column is used? They determine how tall each bar is. We'll be calling it the bar height, and we label the top of each bar with the corresponding frequency from the table. Now to the heart of it. To turn a frequency histogram into density histogram, we need to refigure all the bar heights above the frequencies used in the table into percentages. But the percentages we use won't just be percentages of the total number of clients. We'll find those percentages, but we won't stop there. What we're going to do is find how much percentage each bar has per unit of measure across the bottom axis. In other words, we're going to find how much of the total percentage there is per haircut per year. This means that the bar heights for our density histogram will be labeled with the percentage carried by each individual haircut value along the bottom axis. If you don't get that concept quite yet, that's okay. We'll explain it better later. For now, let's just get the math down. Step number 1. Sum up the frequencies. In order to represent the haircuts data set in a density histogram, we have to first represent the height of each bar as a percentage of the total. That total is where the addition step comes in. We start by taking the heights of each bar and adding them all up. Do it with your calculator now and make sure you get the same sum that we have. 14 plus 26 plus 44 plus 84 plus 102 plus 98 plus 146 plus 48 equals 562. Step number 2. Divide to find and write percentages. Now that we know the total number of clients at the hairstyle shop, we can find a percentage for each category. This is where the first division step comes in, and where the multiplication does too. We're going to take each bar height and divide it by the total we found for the hairstyle shop's clients. Use your calculator and make sure you get the same decimals we have for all of them. And now let's follow up that step by multiplying each decimal by 100 to turn it into a percentage. This will move the decimal over 2 spaces to the right. Check what you find on your calculator against our answers.